we never had anything handed to us. What I mean by that, even at the time when our father was Prime Minister in Yaoundé, I never spent more than a week of vacation in Yaoundé. I will come for a week and the next week he sends me back to the farm in Santa. I will work every day and they'll put a tick across my name. At the end of the holiday, he will look at the number of ticks and determine if you're getting 20 or 25,000.
Are you kidding me?
I'm not kidding you, Tonton Beat. Everybody has something special about them. It's just all about finding it in your mind, first of all, to believe. And that is why I came up with the concept of YouREnough. Growing up for many years, I always heard this expression: the younger generation is the future. The young people are the leaders of tomorrow. But are we truly equipping them with the mindset, with the knowledge, with the skill set, with the spirit, with the resilience that is needed to be able to become what we aspire for them to become and deliver on the things we dream for them? Yes, young Africans, young creatives are eager to break into the global marketplace. In fact, some of them are already making their mark in this space from their different parts of Africa. It's possible, I know that, but the message needs to spread far and wide. And on today's episode of the YouREnough podcast with your host here, Gustav B, Achu, I speak with Mr. Leonard Bruce. He's a senior broadcast executive, a family and marriage counselor. This guy is a communicator extraordinaire, one of the best MCs out of Africa. He's done a lot of corporate strategic communication work for great companies like Ethiopian Airlines and massive banks out of Africa and globally. He's even done voiceover work for different top productions out of New York, Florida, and California. I want to remind you that he will be on the show today and we'll be having a conversation about the things I've mentioned at the beginning: how to empower these youths, how to give them a chance to see the world as a global marketplace, go ahead with courage and seize the opportunity to become what they're destined to become. Stay tuned on the episode. Hey, Tonton B, good afternoon. It's always a great plumping pleasure just getting to see you, but most importantly be in the studio. You know, from the time I was a young man, I've always dreamt of the opportunity to be in the Swella Bar studio.
It's a dream come true for me, but it makes me look like an ancestor.
No. You remember you started very early.
Yeah.
You started very early. Yeah. So it's been about 25 years for you. But you started somewhere about 20. So you just have grown into the thing. And for some of us like myself, I've been watching you from the time I was in university. You know, I've been watching you even when I had the privilege to travel abroad, and I've been keeping tabs, and it's just so impressive what you've been doing, being with you in the studio today, just getting to chat on a few things on how we can transform minds, how we can build spirits and get people moving in the direction where we really want the world and most importantly our nation to be. It's my honor.
Ladies and gentlemen, Gustav B talks and talks well, and today we'll be talking about the concept of his brand YouREnough right here on his head. You see that? That's what we'll be talking about. We'll be talking about winning in the world, a new world economy. We'll be talking about how African youths can connect with the economic global ecosystem, and then the role of this diaspora, where it's existing, those in America, those in Germany, those in Asia, those in South Africa and South America, how they can contribute to make Cameroon even better.
Absolutely.
So what does Cameroon represent in the life of somebody who is not only an American but is a citizen of the world? Gustav comes here any other time, every other time, and most of the time. We'll be talking to this young man who is not only father of 3 beautiful girls, married for more than 20 years, and is still handsome, very beautiful and handsome, and not only handsome, but is a Bamenda man who's attractive and could be attracted too. So guess what? We'll be talking to that guy. But before we do that, I'd like to remind you we have BTK on the other side giving us music. My name is Beya. I was born to do this. I talk also for a living, but he's one of my sons.
Many years ago, living in a world where, especially with the advent of social media, with the advent of access to telephones and different platforms, there is always that possibility. At that time, especially for some of us who had traveled out of the country, right? So there was always that intimidating possibility of you looking at all these things and getting into a new land, and you feel like, I am not capable. I am not smart enough. I don't have the skill. I don't have the
What it
capacity.
takes.
So I wanted to find something that is a reminder on a daily basis that, listen, wherever you are, with whatever endowment you have, the intellect you have, the skill you have something unique that you can offer to the world. Therefore, you are enough. That's how it came about.
And so far is the world understanding that they are enough? Is everybody you're talking to understanding that you're enough? I mean, basically, I come from a premise of I am enough.
Yeah.
I know that notwithstanding my disabilities, I am enough. Notwithstanding the impossibility of coming from where I'm coming from in Africa, I am enough. And am I understanding you from that perspective too?
Tonton Bear, you are, and you bring up a very powerful point. You know, a few months ago, I was very, very privileged. You sent me a signed copy of your book, right?
Yeah.
Disabled but able. And I had a chance. I was flying from Austin to Maryland, and I read that book in a single sitting.
For the record, that's flying from Douala to Garoua.
Thank you. And I don't think I've read a single short, concise 100-page piece of content that impacted me like that, because I saw you really bring out the whole idea of finding it within you to tell the world how to look at you. You know, one of the things that jumped out to me, which is very important, because that is the whole idea of You Are Enough. It's not the name they call you, it's the name you answer to.
Amen.
Right?
Amen.
So it is very powerful, especially as you ask me a very simple question. Is the world believing they're enough? That is my goal. My goal is to impact over the next 15 years. At least 1 billion people should know about You Are Enough, should understand the message of You Are Enough, and should be able to lean on You Are Enough in times when they feel a little bit less capable, in times when they feel less able, in times when the world might make them feel inferior, or might make them feel like their skill set, their mindset, their ability is not able to drive them there.
Gustav, a lot of people think you cannot tell them that they're enough because you come from, I mean, you are a former prime minister's son.
Absolutely.
You are a senator's son parce que tu es le fils d'Achu. You may not know the same challenges like the guy who came from Kumba, the guy who came from the streets of Tiko, Seven Door, in Old Town. It's challenging. But a lot of people think, oh no, you have it all. But they don't know the stories of your own brokenness. They don't know your challenges that you face. It's even a problem being actually Achu's son in most cases. So, but it's an advantage also. Come on, Gustav. Are you enough because you are enough, or are you enough because you face some challenges yourself?
I think you bring up a good point, Tonton. And I am enough because I faced a lot of challenges and I found a way through that. But it's important to put some context to that,
brother,
right?
Bring it on.
Because it's certainly a great privilege to be born by that great man, my number one mentor, the greatest human being I've ever met and been mentored in my life, right? But the important thing is, for those who might even know a little bit about who that man is and about how our family is, we never had anything handed to us. What I mean by that, even at the time when our father was prime minister in Yaoundé, I never spent more than a week of vacation in Yaoundé. I will come for a week, and the next week he sends me back to the farm in Santa. I will work every day, and they'll put a tick across my name. At the end of the holiday, he will look at the number of ticks and determine if you're getting 20 or 25,000.
Are you kidding me?
I'm not kidding you, Tonton Bia. You can feel my palms. You can tell exactly.
It might be Prime Minister became hand strong, so.
So, but this is the deal, Tonton. As a young man too, I used to be very frustrated with that because I thought, oh, as a prime minister's son, I should have privileges.
You know?
But he made it a point, especially for us as children, to never think of ourselves any differently. We grew up farming. We grew up generating the food we eat. There are times in my life, even in our home in Bali Park, we've gone without water, without light. We had to go carry water from the pool.
Are you kidding me?
I'm not kidding, because the truth of the matter is our father also has a history. His life, there are times he's been up, there are times he's been down.
Of course.
Like all of us, we go through those periods. And those were the formative years of my life. Those were the times that reminded me that in life, for everything you get, you got to work for it. So when I talk about YouREnough, when I come and talk to people about YouREnough, I'm not talking from a place of privilege. I'm talking from a place of reality. Not only where I was raised, even in my life in America over the last many years. There was a time I filed for bankruptcy. I paid over 100 grand in the courts. I lost all my homes. I had to start up from the ground up. Even when I traveled to America, my first job was working in a nursing home, taking care of older adults, making minimum $10 an hour wage. I don't know if it makes sense. But the one thing that really occurs to me, that really reinforces to me the power of YouREnough, and which makes me really appreciate the way, right, despite the context of who my father's name was, but the fact that we were able to grow without knowing privilege, is that it gives you that ability, that hunger from within to want to make something of yourself. Because I asked myself a very simple question: who was my grandfather? He was just a regular guy in Santa. So my father probably did something from the ground up, and it will be a complete disappointment if for any reason I try to tweak my mindset on the contrary, instead of understanding the power of work from down. I grew up in CPC Bali. Most of my friends are everyday people. I've sold food in the savon in the market because my mom used to make savon and we sell.
Oh, really?
10 holidays, she will make sure we do something. Everybody had something to do. Christine will be doing granite sweet. I'll be doing savon. Noella will be doing omo or something, because all those things were intentional.
For the record, these are very beautiful sisters and brothers. That
Absolutely.
I mean, sisters especially, because Gustav is the youngest of the very beautiful. Sorry, I mean, he's not the youngest, but he's one of the middle one.
I have many sisters and brothers, as you know.
Exactly. So
Correct.
he is.
I was just giving some.
He's giving you those names there.
Absolutely, Tonton. So that really gave me the ability, number one, to understand that a very important key in life is humility. The ability to be able to understand that everybody has a gift. Everybody has something special about them. It's just all about finding it in your mind, first of all, to believe. And that is why I came up with the concept of YouREnough.
Just to remind you, Gustav was talking about my book that he read, and it's Disabled but Able. And this book is essentially about the same thing. A lot of us, we feel complex when we meet people like Gustav, and we say, oh, your papa be big man, you know, understand what's our command, your papa, you know, if you understand my problem. But I tell you, at all levels, if you want to grow, you should understand that the person talking to you also had his own challenges, and the complexity of each other's brokenness would be better understood if we transcended and we moved against the order of trying to be, let me put it crudely, be jealous of people without knowing their story, or be envious of anybody. So remember, until you understand where this person is, it's only gonna look like it's greener on the other side. But if you understand that this guy also is struggling with the real problems on his own life, then you will know you are enough.
Absolutely.
That's how I understand you are enough. That's why I understand like an Ebualotin, a Kotobas, or a guy with a disability. I am enough. I have the most beautiful children in the world. I have the most beautiful wife. That is what Gustav is trying to tell you in this concept, if I understand. That no matter where you're coming from, and it just depends on how you set yourself for the world and its challenges, you are going to be ready for it. Gustav Achu is talking to you people, not only here, he's talking to you online. And I want to welcome all of you on the Behiya Show today. And welcoming you, I want to talk to you about something. So you live in the diaspora. We believe that sunshine comes there, summer comes with winter, and the whiteness of winter brings in a lot of money. That is a tree that you people pick money. And they believe that you people in the diaspora, you have nothing to do with local Cameroon. The world has become a chat GPT world. It's become a world where everything is possible. Gustav, what does this diaspora that you represent as one of them bring on the table, in fact, of today's Cameroon, for today's Cameroon, where we see what's happening and we know what's happening? What do you think the diaspora can bring on the table?
Awesome. I think you hit a very important perspective, Tonton. The reason why I say so is because when I look I've read a lot of books. As you know, I'm a ferocious reader. I don't have cable TV. I've read over 300 books in the last 5 to 6 years, trying to better my mind, understand what it takes to be successful, and also understanding how to build success from the human spirit. And during that process, I also read books about other diaspora communities and the impact they have on their country of birth. The one thing that stood out to me is the fact that every great nation in the world finds a way to align with their diaspora, because the concept of the diaspora for many of the great nations is the diaspora population works as the top, I'll put it in quotes here, the top agents who go out and search and find the way to impact their country of birth. So in my case, I've always looked at myself as a Cameroonian. I've always felt as a Cameroonian. I am a Cameroonian.
Value. Now, we're talking to Gustav B. Achu. I'm just reminding our listeners who this young man is. And Gustav is stealing our show because he's very, very, very open. He's flowing. Gustav used to be one of the best MCs that I think I encourage people to have. But the mindset has changed. The movement has gotten to other things. And we're very glad he's talking to us today, educating us on things that we should be having, you know, on the table discussion to transform the ecosystem and to not only add value to both ends of the discourse, as in his Cameroonian, who is, I mean, what Cameroon represents to, but he's talked about that, and he's talked about the role of the diaspora, but he's not talked about how the African youth can also connect with the economic global system.
Okay.
And what are these things? Because I saw you're also an IT magician.
Correct.
I saw you teaching people how to make money within, I mean, since the arrival of Donald Trump, for those of you who don't know, the American president Donald Trump created an opportunity for Americans and the world to tap from the magic of IT. Before Donald Trump, the Democrats brought in a lot of Indians, and the market for business was basically Indian infected or affected or infested. But Donald Trump opened space for a lot of people from Africa, from Nigeria, from Cameroon, and people like you to have a taste to consume local American talent. And from there, I saw a lot of local Cameroonian millionaires rushing into Scrum Master, rushing into firewalling, rushing into data system buildings, and rushing into a new profession. Now, Gustav, what does that represent to you people, these new professions, and how can that add value to the young Cameroonian who's listening to us right now and the young African?
Absolutely, Tonton. I think the value you can add is very powerful. The reason why is, first of all, earlier I talked about the fact that the young people today are very privileged because they have a lot more dexterity and ease of assimilation. Assimilation means assimilating information, assimilating skills, assimilating know-how, right? They are easily more flexible. They can learn computer systems faster. They are more comfortable with those things. So the first thing I tell them is, I said, with the phone and the internet connectivity, you can connect. And I don't say that to be nice. I say that because I live it on a daily basis. I'll give you an example. As you know, I do a lot of speaking, I do a lot of coaching and things like that. I have a YouTube channel, right? And I need graphic designers. I need graphic designers. I need people who design thumbnails for me, people who design flyers for me, people who edit videos for me. And everybody I work with is local in Cameroon or Nigeria. Absolutely. And it's intentional. It's intentional because
say all the things on your page, on the
everything I do, my editors,
local guys here?
They are local people in Cameroon. I have 2 people in Nigeria. I have 4 people in Cameroon.
Wow.
Everything about my media, my content, everything is done locally, and it's intentional because I want to prove that we have the skill sets. We need opportunities, and so for those of us who are out there in the diaspora, right? We have to make a conscious effort to bring opportunity and partnership with our brothers and sisters who have the skill set. And the reason why too is because when I engaged some of these people to work with, I was open with them. I opened my Fiverr page. Fiverr is a platform where you can get any kind of gig from around the world, from anybody around the world, right? I opened the Fiverr page and I showed them. I said, listen, over the last 2 years, I've spent X thousands of dollars on people from Bangladesh, on people from India. Great stuff, nothing bad with that. But it will not be a bad idea if a portion of that is being spent on designers who are local to Cameroon or to Africa, because that brings in revenue into our economy, it brings in revenue into our systems, and it empowers that group.
So imagine like 7 of you are doing that in one city, and a couple of other people from the diaspora are doing the same.
The multiplier effect will be significant. I understand the challenges too. Sometimes you might need a little bit of guidance and training to get the people up to speed. But there is nothing wrong with that. In all jobs I've had in my life, somebody had to train me. Somebody had to give me a chance, right? So to me, it is very, very, I'm passionate about that. I'm intentional about that because the skills are there. So for the young people listening to us right now, I want to advise you to learn some basic computer skills. For example, learn how to design multimedia stuff. Learn about social media management. Learn about video editing, because these are skills that don't necessarily need you to go through a rugged university program, but they are high in demand skills. And the reason why I say so is because I'll give you an example. YouTube platform. YouTube is the second largest search engine in the world. YouTube has 2.4 billion active users a day. All of those users need some kind of service. They need somebody to do a flyer, do a video. Number 3, the content economy today is about $500 billion. They are projecting, it's less than that, but they are projecting that by 2027, the content economy would have hit more than $1 trillion.
So content economy would include everything on social media.
Everything on social media. Everything
on, on mainstream.
Yes.
Content would be include recordings, would include everything on LinkedIn,
Podcasts,
on all the available YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. And you imagine, that's massive. So are you going to be part of that traffic or not? That's what he's talking about.
That is the question, right? And as a young person, and that is why I talk about the mindset, because the mindset will be able to start looking at some of these things and saying, you know what? Yes, I may not have formal employment today by the government, which is not possible for the government to employ everybody, right? But with my skill set, I can get people who I can provide the services to.
And what are the services you can provide? You can provide video services for TikTok. A lot of us are not educated past 50. We don't know what TikTok is. We don't know that with TikTok you can use for BTL and ATL. Like PR and advertising, you can use them for both outdoor. You can provide content for billboarding. You can get stuff for SMS, bulk SMS communication. You can get stuff for it's a massive opportunity for everybody. For videography, you can create content for people who speak public speaking, how to speak in public, little tips on how to speak in public. You can get stuff for people how to communicate when somebody is dead, how to communicate when somebody is not well, there's a lot of stuff, and that's what he's talking about. And he, from his end, is planning to help you people, not only be partners with you people. And you people, as in the young folk and the people ready to listen, accompany them to make lives even better. You walked in this country for some time, Gustav. Before we go, you walked in the country, you know the reality of this country. Actually abandoned what you had built in America to come back to this country. What were the challenges of leaving everything in America, your family, and coming to the reality of mosquitoes, bad water, delestage, eneo, and the reality of not being able to feed your family with whatever you're making here?
It was interesting because it was like you living in Bali Park where I grew up, right? And then you go for holidays to your rich uncle's house in the center of Bastos, and after 3 months you come back to Bali Park. All of a sudden 3 months in your rich uncle's house wouldn't have changed. You don't get totally oblivious of where you came from, right? So to me, I understood the challenges because I have lived, was born, enjoyed Cameroon, traveled Cameroon, so I understood the challenges. But the bigger thing to me was, how can I, as a proud son of Cameroon and Africa, who've been able to travel, what is it that I can bring back to my country to help be able to bridge and provide real value? So to me, that was more driving to me than any impediment that was on the way.
Did it in any way affect the way you're raising right now, your stay in the country, the experiences, the things you went through? Did it in any way, build up your mindset to...
Absolutely.
What were the challenges that brought you to where you are right now with this complete human being that you are?
Man, Don. There are a bunch of them, but I'll just go about it in a way that makes sense in context of top stuff, right? The first challenge was the ability to understand that anything you want to achieve in life which is consistent, which is sustainable. It will take time and it will take sacrifice. What does sacrifice mean? Sacrifice means, I thought, okay, Gustav, you know what? You cannot go to people's country who've built it for 400 years, buy a home, buy a wife, buy a car, enjoy your life, and just forget about where you came from. What is it that you can transfer to your country of birth? How can you help that process, right? So when I moved back the first time in the early 2000s, right, working with a multinational company, you know the whole story. The big challenge that I faced, of course, was just dealing with the reality of, you know, traffic, the usual thing of light is off, light is on, and all those kind of things. But to me, it was small, because when I looked at the vision, when I looked at what drove me to want to do that, I realized that part of the way to get anything is that sacrifice. It's easy to say it, but now when the tire hits the road, can you make the sacrifice? So that is what kept me driving with that sacrifice, and the ability to understand that, listen, nobody is coming to do it for us. We have to. The second other important challenge is something you just brought up here. The ability, Dave, there is a certain amount of dissonance between people who live in the diaspora and our brothers and sisters locally. I really want to encourage everyone to understand that we are partners. We are not axes.
Yeah, because we have this way of looking at you guys as, oh, ils ont réussi, ils veulent nous donner des leçons sur comment vivre notre vie, la diaspora, et puis quoi. But there's a lot of fear of we have a phobia for diaspora, because a lot of you in the diaspora, you have this sabitu attitude, and you think that you know better. Vous pensez que vous avez des leçons à nous donner, et que non, on n'a aucune connaissance de rien. Vous venez avec, and is this higher level, up to down method that actually kills the collaborative spirit?
You bring a
Is that how are you coming to teach us something? Because moi je pense, I mean, Samba Anak is Cameroon coach today. Correct. He's a local guy, and a lot of us even locally think that he's not qualified, but Song is doing a good job. I mean, making mistakes that white people have made, and I can assure you that half of the challenges is from people from the diaspora who think that we need a white man. Are you coming with this idea that you are superior? Are you coming with this idea that you are better? Which is okay. You have seen a lot of good things, but don't you think your element should be with the expertise that you have from what you've seen out there to add value to what is locally possible?
I think you make a very great point there. And a few weeks ago, I was on a podcast like this, the Sagi Fogwe show, and we were talking about something relative to this topic. And the first thing I brought up, I said, and this was a message I was passing to our brothers and sisters in the diaspora. Because somebody asked, what is it that somebody in the diaspora who is trying to emigrate back to Cameroon, what can they bring? I said, I will start with the things you shouldn't bring. The number one thing you shouldn't bring is arrogance. Don't sit anywhere in the diaspora and think people in Cameroon are waiting for you to come and save them. You are not coming to save them.
Thank you.
You are not coming to feed them.
Thank you.
You are coming to enhance with the knowledge that you have. And sometimes you are actually coming to learn. That is the position I take. I always tell people, don't come with arrogance. Understand that the fact that you've been there doesn't mean you are better. For example, sometimes people will call a doctor in Cameroon, their mother or their father is sick, and a nurse in America will call a doctor and you are trying to tell the doctor his job. This guy has left QS. QS is one of the top medical schools in Africa, in Central Africa. Other countries send their doctors to come and chase in QS. This guy has left QS. He's done a specialization in maybe Suka in Nigeria, and you are telling this guy his job. Just because maybe you're working for some big hospital in UK or in America and you think all of a sudden you know more than a doctor because they're Cameroon. So that arrogance is what number one, I tell people, keep it out of the door. The second thing, when you're thinking about our country, when you're thinking about our motherland, Africa, think about the things that can bring us partnerships. What does partnership mean? Partnership means the ideas you have. Don't think you have monopoly of good ideas. Don't think you know all the good ideas. Understand that there are a lot of people who are educated, who are intelligent, who are exposed, who might be just need an opportunity to show what they have. That is why I'm very intentional and deeply appreciative of what you do, because you are one of those real people who seek to change the minds first, because it all starts in this mind, Tonton. They say if the mind doesn't believe it, the body won't achieve it.
And if I may add to thanking you, and the local people should not be complex too, because there's a lot of complexity, and they should be adventurous. I speak to my people because I mean, a lot of us locally, we don't travel, we don't read. We don't educate our minds. We're not prepared for people abroad, and nobody abroad can talk to me anyhow.
I agree,
because I have a travel history, I have education, I have a background, I have experience. So when you're coming to me, you are surprised. I actually know where you stay. I know your zip code. I know your door number, and I definitely travel better than you. On I don't travel coach. So you come in to talk to me. You're talking to business class mindset. You're talking to first class mindset. You're talking to educated mindset. You're talking to experienced mindset. You're talking to, I know from the ghetto to the get-go
to this boardroom,
so exactly. So there's a lot of problems with us also locally, because we're envious. We probably went to the embassy 7 times and we didn't have a visa. We probably have tried everything possible, and we look at you as, okay, they might talk so because you did come out. That's first of the things that we need also to remove from our minds, so we can profit from the experience. Truth be told, people in the diaspora have seen better and know better sometimes, especially the ones with your mindset. And we should be humble enough to know that there's a lot we can gain from them in terms of opportunities, in terms of experience and added value. Kondo is another Marylanda. I don't know if he's still in Maryland. It's Takusi, and he is playing for the Lions. One of the most talented Cameroonians that discovered his gift. Sokuju. Yes, this guy has music for everything. And I was underestimating his ability to catch up, but he's so consistent, and his music is intense, very spiritual.
Yes.
And he started with Nganu, Nganu to play. This is what was scaring me, because the music is so spiritual. It sounds like this guy went to do his own extra. I mean, the guy is a master. What do you know about Sokuju?
No, Sokuju is a friend of mine, and I got to connect with him a few months ago when he released Nganu. I called him on my phone. I said, my brother, I have watched you for the last month and a half. I realized that you finally found your gift. You found what God.
I don't play rubbish on my show. This guy, this
is something special.
Tonton. Yes, you get it.
It comes from a deep place.
Thank you.
I called him at 6:30 in the morning.
Trust me, Cameroonians don't get it. This guy is gonna go so far with this, only from this Nganu song.
Yes.
There is the conga, there is the guitar.
First of all, the instrumentation of the sound.
I'm going to
instruments.
I am itemizing. You're using a bulk word.
Yes.
I'm speaking
the conga, the djembe.
You're talking
the shakers, the calabash.
I like you. Let me say, I want to talk music.
It's powerful.
Yes.
Then the concept, the lyrics, then the clips that he does. This guy comes from a deeply spiritual place. When I listen to him, I already foresee, if he continues doing what he's doing, the fellas of this world, the Rishabonas of this world, the Manu Dibangos.
It is nice to listen to you, Gustav.
Because, we have a big job in our hands. And I can say that confidently because I know it might sound a little bit cliche, but we are at a unique point in the history of life, especially us in Africa, because number one, we have the youngest population in the world. Number two, we have a population that has the ability to learn faster. And number three, there is a reason why you have all the Bill Gates of Microsoft and all these big technology companies and their big CEOs and chairmen. They keep coming to Africa. They keep coming. So the most important thing is that the young people have to start understanding what the global economy of now and the future looks like. The prince of Saudi Arabia, when he became the person managing, since his father had gotten sick, one of the first things he did, he put together some of the most intelligent Saudi Arabians from the world and some consultants, and he gave them a single assignment. He said, in a few months, I want you guys to give me a 100-year plan for Saudi Arabia. So I want to encourage the young people to think about 25-year plans. I know it is hard because of the circumstances, but they should think that way, because this is our continent, this is our country. Even people living in the diaspora should be thinking on how to act in ways that are sustainable and are long-term. The reason I say so, Tonton, is because many people when you travel out of Cameroon in your 20s, I'll never. By the time you get to your 40s, you start missing home. Home is where the heart beats.
So what did you invest to come back home at?
Exactly.
Come back home to?
What are you coming back to? What are you bringing to your... By the time you hit 50, it's an emergency. I have a big brother of mine who is in California, successful medical doctor. He worked in Cameroon briefly, left Cameroon, went to the US, worked for 30 years, and he's getting close to 60 now. He talked to me in February. I met him, and he told me he's building his home in Limbe as an emergency. I said, why? He said, bro, when I hit 50 in my mind, I realized no matter what I do, I belong to Cameroon.
So I'm asking a lot of you in the diaspora, what have you done to belong to Cameroon? Is it a building that makes you a Cameroonian?
No.
What is the impact you've done to have the people around you be more sustainable and dependable?
Correct.
How many people have you empowered around your country or even your family? What are you to these people? A money-making machine or a dependable human being? I'm talking to you from a perspective that is going to change your life. Gustav Achu, YouREnough, is turning around mindsets and is bringing home into your diaspora and the diaspora home. That is how you know you impact your world. That is how you know you touch around and you touch within and without. Are you part of the running train that is picking people from every facet of the runway? Gustav Achu and I have tried in this program, on this show, to get ideas. It's not supposed to be at the end of your life. It's supposed to be part of your everyday life.
Everyday life, yes, sir.
Are you part of this everyday life? Are you educating your children on where you are so they are also part of this dream? Because a lot of you back home don't understand anything about what your brothers are doing abroad. And a lot of you abroad do not understand what's happening here locally.
Correct.
That is why your businesses fail, because there's a disconnect. Your kids are Americans with no love for Cameroon. When they come here, they can't understand your cocoa business, your food business, your appartement meublé business. That is why you're failing. They need to understand. They need to be part of this dream, and they need to understand who is a motorboy, what is extra cargo, no vomiting, no pissing in the car. Because when you invest, and only your brothers know, you're preparing your children for death sentences also. Because your brothers may even kill these children from America. And some of them don't really give a damn about what you're doing here. So if you're planning on coming back to Cameroon, you are enough to understand that Cameroon is your country, not only when you're old. We don't need old people here. We already have enough old people.
That's right.
We need young minds like Gustav to tell us the story from abroad and to be part of the story locally. Gustav B. Achu, is there something I didn't ask you?
No, I think it's, if you and me have to talk about everything, it will take us a day or two of just continuous talking. I think we'll have other opportunities to meet, but one of the things that really occurred to me while we were talking, and I think it's important to highlight, is the need for people like you to, as you've been doing, right, to continue to multiply yourself.
Thank you.
Multiply yourself. I've seen a lot of young mentees of yours, including myself. I got to know you informally as a big brother about 20 years ago, but I really started knowing you as a professional big brother about 15 years ago when I was working with a company here in Cameroon for over 3 years. We had a chance to work extensively. I had a chance to see the way you do things. I had a chance to tap into your mind, to tap into your spirit, to tap into your thinking. And some of the things that I really think it's important when people listen to your show to pick. And from that show, it's not only the knowledge, but it's also some of the intangible things. Confidence, belief. Yes,
I am a very, very talented person who reads a lot and who knows what is worth. That is why I will not take less. You will not see me a lot in places, but the people that know my value come to me.
And Tonton,
yes.
And I think you make a very important point. While also respecting and knowing your worth and value, it's important too that the young people understand that you have to be patient and honest to build to that point.
It's a lot of work.
It didn't happen overnight.
Yes,
this is about 25 years of building, right?
Yes.
When you were charging $1 million francs, for example.
About 25 years, eh?
Yes. At that point, you had already put in about 17 years of work.
Yes.
I don't know if it makes sense.
Yeah, Gustav Achu, I love you very much. I appreciate you.
Yes,
Father of 3, married for more than 22 years today. I appreciate you. Father of 3, smart businessman, speaker, motivational. But I mean, there's a lot I want to say to you, but I'm very grateful you could come to Swellaba. On behalf of Swellaba, I want to thank you. There is my regional director, Madame Nalova, whom I'm sure is listening to this show.
Awesome.
I'm actually on my hospital. I'm actually in bed. I'm supposed to be on bed rest. But I mean, she warned me not to come to work because she knows what I'm going through. Leonard Chatelain, my immediate boss, also told me not to come to work. But but we needed to have this show.
Those are all great people.
My painkillers are doing the magic.
Awesome.
But I'm grateful you could be with us today.
It's a great pleasure, and extend my deep appreciation to them. Madame Nalova, Leonard Chatelain, these are people I've looked up to for many years.
We all have.
These are people who've really inspired us. They gave us the ability to even just get passionate about communication. You know, because when you open your mouth to speak, people will tell who you are, right? And one of the skills we need in this time and age is communication. The ability to communicate ideas clearly, to communicate ideas in a persuasive way, because this generation, the generation after this, the younger generation, everybody needs to communicate.
It's gonna take the microphone at this point. This is where you see in a talk show, you start playing music, you saute, right?
So,
let's get that music in the background. No jingle, just some music before we remain, because this guy, he can take us over. Merci beaucoup, chers auditeurs.
So as you go out there, do I have a minute for one last thing?
Yes, please, one last thing.
Awesome. So I want to look you straight in the eye, and Tonton, this is important, right? I might not know you personally. I might not have a chance to meet you physically. I don't know your story. I don't know where you were raised or born. I don't know what circumstances you might have been through. I don't have information about the challenges you might have had to overcome in your life. I don't know the people who might have talked to your mind about the fact that you are not able, that you are not capable, that you are not smart, that you are not strong, and that you don't have a gift. What I'm here to tell you today, without any iota of doubt, is that you are enough. Whatever it is that you might have been through or you're walking through right now, continue to keep your mind in a positive place. The reason why is because when the mind perceives it, the spirit accepts it, the body will achieve it. Until the next time, be well, be blessed, and never stop being a blessing to somebody. I believe in you.